New merch in the store, limited glow-in-the-dark pumpkin designs end in 2 days. Link in the description below.
It's an orange juice.
What's up, everyone? This is Oj. With a new graveyard, it spawns 16 skeletons in a smaller radius. What's new though? With the October 9th balance update, they changed the overall mechanics, and in my opinion, graveyard is now stronger. Here's how the new mechanic works. There are 16 skeletons that spawn on the outer parameter of the spell. Let's replay that again. Each skeleton spawns once on each sector. These 16 sectors are guaranteed to always spawn one skeleton. No more, no less. What happens when you cast the spell right against the wall? Well, the 9 sectors on the left quadrant are cleared, and this forces the other 7 sectors on the right quadrant to propagate right against the wall. Knowing this, you can manipulate graveyard to your advantage. Before we get into that, here's what not to do. If you cast graveyard right in the center of the Princess Tower, the top corner of the graveyard is almost always guaranteed to activate the King Tower now. There is no randomness in this, as we know a skeleton is guaranteed to spawn in that corner sector. This equates to around 700 damage and a king activation. Once it's activated and you try to center plant again, you will get 0 damage on the Princess Tower, since they all spawn on the parameter of the spell's radius. A pretty decent placement is actually casting graveyard right at the wall, but it's not optimal. There are still a few skeletons that need to travel quite a few steps before they can connect to the tower. On average, the Princess Tower's health will be left at 658. Out of 103 trials, this is the mode because it occurs 28 out of 103 times. The lowest I've seen the Princess Tower go down to is 390 health. The highest health I've seen the Princess Tower survive with is 859 health. Before October 9th, skeletons could spawn anywhere from the spell. Now, it always spawns skeletons in predefined sectors, though the sequence is still random. This is the old placement. Notice how the skeletons almost always get sniped by that other Princess Tower. In this clip, the Princess Tower on the opposite side sniped exactly 1 skeleton. This happens because the 10th or 11th skeleton spawned in the outer sector near the King Tower. This results in roughly 1,800 damage. The Princess Tower will have just 700 health. If 2 of the outer sectors spawn skeletons, while the Princess Tower is occupied with skeletons that are closer, the opposite Princess Tower will snipe those 2 skeletons. This results in roughly 1,000 damage to the targeted Princess Tower. If you get 3 outer skeletons spawning in these sectors while the Princess Tower is occupied with other skeletons, this means the Princess Tower will snipe those skeletons, resulting in roughly 700 damage. Each skeleton connecting to the tower is invaluable. It also has the highest range and damage, bringing the Princess Tower as low as 256 or as high as 1,864. The most common amount of damage done to the Princess Tower leaves her at 926 health. This occurs 16 out of 103 times. Okay, so the best placement for graveyard is casting it just off of the Princess Tower. What this does is it isolates the 3 outer sectors and forces the skeletons to spawn closer to the tower. This ensures that the opposite Princess Tower doesn't snipe those loose skeletons. Occasionally, 2 skeletons might spawn in the outer sectors and push 1 within range of that second Princess Tower, but that's very rare. The most damage that this placement does is leave the Princess Tower with 189 health, and the least amount of damage it'll do is leave the Princess Tower with 792 health. On average, the Princess Tower will be brought down to 390 health. This is the best placement and gets even better if you pair the graveyard with a tank. So what happens if you cast it 1 tile higher or lower? The results are relatively the same, but overall, slightly less damage is done. You might see the Princess Tower damaged as low as 256 and left with as much health as 859. This placement won't activate the King Tower, but it's not the optimal placement. Knowing that the skeletons are guaranteed to spawn on the 16 sectors on the outer parameter of the graveyard's radius, against a single King Tower, it's best to place the graveyard on either of those 2 tiles because the top quadrant of skeletons are blocked by the wall, therefore spawning them closer to the King Tower. When one Princess Tower is down, it does not make sense to center plant graveyard, because the skeletons all spawn on the border of the graveyard's radius. This means all 16 skeletons have maximum travel distance, so the best tile is staggering the placement one tile off the center. This forces the sector of the wall to overlap, thus spawn closer. Also, the sectors on the left side spawn right beside the Princess Tower for maximum damage output. This is good news for 2v2, because now that the skeletons are not randomized and spawn in these designated sectors, that King Tower won't activate if placed in the optimal position. Applying the same theory as mentioned previously, the best position is to isolate the top quadrants and to ensure the bottom quadrants are nearest the tower. These two tiles are optimal against the double King Tower. Well, let's try that again, this time with the tank. This video is based off of data collected over hundreds of games. There might be slight variances, but my final thoughts are Graveyard just got even stronger and players haven't realized it yet. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more quality.
The fuck are started!